I'm back with another interesting early digital clock. This one is part of a collection of 8 homebrew clocks that I bought from the son of the original builder. I have since finished fixing up almost all of them, and I'll be showing them off over the coming weeks and months. This one has a nice smoked acrylic case, and the back panel here is made out of a carefully cut sheet of aluminum. It's missing one screw. I'll have to find a replacement for that. As you can see, it's a 6-digit clock, and it's currently displaying an invalid time. That's pretty typical with these early National Semiconductor clock chips. All you have to do is advance the time until you get back to a normal one, and then proceed on to whatever the current time is. The controls on this one are pretty basic. You can see it has a fast set, a slow set, and a hold button. So there's your fast set. It rapidly advances the minutes and holds the seconds. The slow set rapidly advances the seconds. And the hold just holds. I usually put a toggle switch in for the hold control so that you don't have to actually physically hold down the button. This one has a sticker on the back that says Approved General Electric Company Xray Department. I'm guessing that the original builder worked for that department, and he brought this clock into work and they gave it their stamp of approval for being plugged into the company's outlets. Now I'm going to unplug it and show you guys the circuitry, which I think is fairly interesting. He did things a little bit differently than most clock builders did in that time period. I'm only going to be removing the top cover, and I'm just going to take out these 5 screws here. I don't need to disassemble it all the way. Now all the screws on the top are out, and this piece just lifts out. The original builder seems to have had access to better acrylic working tools than I do. Everything is very precisely cut, and the threads are nicely tapped. The front piece here is just a friction fit, and for that to work, the tolerances have to be pretty close. There are all the displays. I'll pull one of them out for you, carefully. It's an HP 5082-7651. See, there's a bit of corrosion on the leads there, but not enough to make it not work. You can see that crap comes off pretty easily. They're silver plated. I didn't have to do all that much to this one to get it working again. The original power cord had a splice in it, so I replaced it with a nice new one, a polarized one. I also changed out the old filter cap, but I did replace it with another axial capacitor, so that looks fairly original. And it had a 1 amp fuse, which is way overkill for a clock that draws about 5 watts, so I slapped a 1/4 amp fuse in there. The wiring to the switches was also a bit of a mess, so I redid that. I'm not a huge fan of how the fuse holder is held down. It was just attached with a little blob of this rubbery silicone material. I reinforced it a bit with some hot glue on the sides there. I should have just drilled a hole through the screw hole there and put a proper bolt in when I had this thing apart, but that's in there pretty good now. I'm not really worried about it. This little device across the transformer primary here is a metal oxide varistor. It seems that the original owner of these clocks added one of these to most of them. Perhaps a lightning strike or something damaged one of his clocks, and he decided to prevent that from happening again. But in any case, these were tacked into all of them. There you can see the clock chip. It's an MM5311, an unusual choice for this application because it has BCD outputs, which this clock does not use, in addition to the 7-segment outputs, which it does use. These devices here, which look like integrated circuits, are actually just resistors in a fancy ceramic package. All of the digit and segment drive transistors are socketed in these nice little green sockets, and you can see that the display board is wire wrapped. I had to replace the colon separator LEDs, but I did have some late 70s vintage ones which I installed in there. Well, that's about all there is to show for this clock. Thanks for watching.